Hello, everybody, and welcome to Capsule Cast. I am your host, DoorGuard. It's been a while since I've done a true hard host, been co-hosting a while, but we're doing a little bit of a special. We're doing the Capsule Cast crew this week, so say hello to Oasis, Destiny, and Donut.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, how y'all doing?
La la.
So, not all of us are always on all the time. A lot of us do background stuff, but it's good to talk to you guys. It's a big group this time. You guys ready to talk about? We have a lot to go over this week.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
So starting us off, we are going with the third place match. The full third place match happened this last stream, so make sure to check that out if you haven't. And it was Earth Defenders and Derp. And round one, Earth Defenders in a, little more convincing than some matches, managed to take out Derp. Derp doing a little bit more new builds, you could say. Not like hard new builds, like with just everything different, but like a little more out there. So they came out with a little bit of surprise, Earth Defenders doing what they always do, but nevertheless was a pretty decent match, pretty back and forth, and Earth Defenders managed to get the round one win. So Oasis, what do you think about this first match? Was there any kind of big moments that surprised you?
Oh, I mean, plenty. Not many that I would dare say, but to be perfectly honest, going into this match, Earth Defenders versus Derp, I had all expectations for Earth Defenders to take it and they starting victory. Miku either doing what he does and ulting everyone, or Tian just stalling out. But Derp, although the Doria wasn't on his correct AI, putting that aside, Derp did a fantastic job through teamwork, tagging, and sheer determination to try to pull this thing back. Like, I tell you, this honestly was more exciting to me than the next match we're going to cover later in this cast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the third place match was certainly a fun one. It's a new one. It only started last year, so for those that are longtime viewers, obviously, it's still a little bit of a newer thing. But there is reason for it. It hasn't been announced publicly just yet, but third place does get a special reward. So, Donut, for round one, what did you take from it?
I thought it was pretty, not dominant, but pretty convincing from Earth Defenders for the first round. Like, Krone did very well. I thought Tien really, carried with that tank build as he's known for, right? And so I thought those two really surprised me, not in the sense of like what they did or how they accomplished the task, but just by and how commanding they were during the matches. As we see going forward, Dub kind of adapts to that, well, not Dub, but the characters from the team does adapt to that later on, which is a little bit more of a different feel during the match. But for these defenders for first round, very solid team, obviously, not convincing, but commanding in the win. Definitely what you want to see going into the match.
Yeah, and Destiny, your views on the match?
I just thought this was a really good way to start off the third round, seeing as these were two teams that people always wanted to see in the bowl. Derp's very beloved team, and Earth Defenders this season really looked like they'd be the team to take it all. So and if I believe so, it still was like extremely close at the end. So it just goes to show how much these teams have grown and how much these teams can improve.
Yeah, I think, there's a few rounds that happened for this match. It was a best of three after all, and so it was a very interesting start, but I think people were not too surprised Earth Defenders took the first round, especially. I think everybody knew they were going to be the team to beat, and Derp would be the underdogs, as, they tend to be seen. You guys want to get moving on to round two then?
That's it.
Sure.
Yeah, I can kind of speed through the rounds a little bit and then do more of a synopsis during the third round of how we felt. So round two, Derp came back fighting, had a much better start, and were able to have pretty much, we're in the first match a few characters got dumpstered. There were a lot more characters able to actually do what they needed to do this time. So Derp able to make a comeback and get this one. Though Earth Defenders did do a very good fight, but they were just unable to. I think mid Vegeta really started to show. There's a little bit of cracks in round 1. Round 2, you really got to see that the cracks are starting to show bad, and that he just couldn't seem to quite do what he normally does against Derp for whatever reason. They just kind of got into his head. So, Donut, what were your thoughts on round 2, Derp getting their first win in the series?
Happy to see it. Obviously, happy to see Dub win the match or the round. But for this one, I thought the biggest difference maker was Kui, right? You don't think of Kui usually as a standout, but he really kind of showed his stuff against Krillin this time, which is basically 180 compared to the first round here. And on top of that, Hercule, they won this round without Hercule doing 40k, right? Which is very nice for Dub. I mean, not that he didn't do 40k, but you're able to win without him having to pop off, right? And I just remember looking back at that Salza last stand with staying alive as long as he can, kind of doing the Tien treatment that Tien showed from round 1, but on this time for Dub. So very nice bounce back, and you love to see it for him to pull it to round 3.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big note we forgot to talk about is that they have Vegito, who's been a great melee user for them all season, but they decided to bring in Kui here just to get him a little more field time. I don't think he had gotten any field time this year, actually. I think he got like 3 or 4 matches, but he was on defense build, so he got his more preferred melee this time.
Yep.
Yeah, Destiny, how'd you feel about Derp's comeback round here?
I think it was very good for Derp here. Just seeing Kui take out his character's worth just shows that maybe Vegeta was not the way to go this season, even though he did really good. Doria doing solid is always nice to see. I'm actually very surprised that this team was able to handle threats like mid Vegeta extremely well, because considering how I believe we said this in last week's cast or something like that, but how Vegeta basically you have to have like 2 characters worth in order to just keep him down, keep him under wraps, but it does cost 2 characters. I'm surprised that didn't happen with Derp here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty decent second round. I mean, I think Earth Defenders have always been a strong team, but Derp has, people are like, oh, you could argue that Vegito carried them, but they switched around a lot this last off season. I think they dropped Devilman and Jiro, who neither are like bad characters, but they certainly weren't pulling their weight, so there was not really a reason to keep them around. Jiro especially just was really hitting under the belt, where Devilman was a little too hope for one good thing to happen.
Yeah, very niche in what he does, yeah.
Yeah, so bringing in Kui and picking up Vegito helped a lot. But this match just goes to show that this is like Derp, even with just their base 5 and not like a super hyper expensive free agent, can put up a good match. A lot of people I think have been worried about them and Sentai about them just not being able to, get the results without having someone super strong. But this just goes to show against even some of the, one of the strongest teams in the league, that you can put up a result with your characters. It takes a lot of tinkering. And I think match 2 really kind of put a shock into Earth Defenders' backline here with just how well they managed to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Well, you guys want to finish off round 3? Maybe do some overall thoughts?
Why not? Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, round 3, the final round, we have a PNG still at 140p. We made it specifically to mess with all of you guys who are watching live. Get wrecked. But yeah, this was kind of the biggest surprise, I think, of the night. I don't think people were surprised that Derp won a round, but to take the series was kind of a big note here. So having gone from 1-0 down to come back and win 2, and Kui really popped off this match. So if last match looked like he was finding his footing, this one, it was like he was in full gear, ready to go. So he really popped off. Dodoria maybe didn't do as much, but Hercule and Salza kept their part. And Supreme Kai, I don't think he had to do a lot, so it didn't really matter. But the real big cracks in Earth Defenders, unfortunately, became massive, it seemed, after losing to get put into the 3rd place match of mid Vegeta carry. Just didn't quite have it. And both Gokus have insane damage output, but if they
Yeah.
just can't hit their B2s, then unfortunately it just feels bad, and it's just frustrating. And I think this was a match that really showed their frustrations of how wonky some of their guys can be. Unfortunately, I think Tien was probably, him and Krillin were the two fighting as some of the worst players in this series. Tien just couldn't quite hold his own as much as they needed him to. And that's with, you know, at least one of the Gokus kind of struggling to hit the mark, unfortunately. So, but congratulations to Derp on getting the bronze medal and the mysterious prize that we'll find out, you know, after the
I know what
tournament
it is,
ends. Yeah,
but-
Donut knows because he's stabbed. But yeah, Destiny, what are some final remarks on maybe this round and the series as a whole on the Derp Earth Defenders third place match here?
Sure. I'll just say very good job to Derp. I love your team, love your style, and always nice to see you win. Earth Defenders, I'm really wanting to see what you guys can do next season, considering you will no longer have Enku potentially. But yeah, just two good old teams. Only one can get third place. Congratulations to Derp.
Yeah, Donut.
Yeah, I feel like this whole series of rounds was really just like the redemption arc of Kui, right? Like he started doing 18k and ended with 78k, right? That's just a nice glow up throughout the entire thing. Every time he went like 30k above his past performance, which is great to see if you're Dub, obviously. And now I want to do a big shout out to Fiora. We've had him here on the cast quite a few times. That man just, you know, he's always grinding on trying to find new builds for his members, and he's really tinkered with them a lot. So, you know, to do some damage with Derp as lineup is deemed historically one of the weaker teams, to make him a top 3 team, very impressive, definitely very impressive. I'm very curious to see what they do in the off season, and like throughout the whole off season, and even to the next season as well. Will they put in a pool? Will they put in, you know, let's say someone else did drop, will they add him in, right? Because they have a solid 5 right here, as they've shown. They have a very solid 5, it's a very solid core. So I don't know if there's much room that's really needed. Maybe just tinkering for him. So I'm very curious to see what Dub does going forward.
Will Jero make a return?
Probably not. Probably not.
Hey, we can only speculate.
We can't speculate, but maybe.
I will say they do have a
There's a chance.
well-rounded team here. What we have seen since they were allowed to start testing after this match is Salza still on Eternal Life, but a little more spam focus. Supreme Kai taking the tank role, Dodorian Kui melee, and of course Hercule as always the super +2. So
Yes.
they're already showing a little more offensive push. Only one tank instead of 2 to 3, trying to get a little more variety going on here, focusing a little more on damage than on sustain. And you know, just one of those things where before it was about staying alive long enough to deal the damage, and now they've kind of figured out that they have a few characters that can actually do the damage, and they just kind of have to adjust to that. But Earth Defenders obviously will be getting Yamcha back, or have gotten Yamcha back. Have a little bit of work to do with a few characters. Obviously, Krillin just not quite holding his own here. Might be an AI thing. Maybe needs one guitar change. Mid Vegeta, solid character. Tien has already been getting a few new things, and Mid Goku, while you know, they're still holding on with the similar build, but it'll be interesting to see. They could very easily go and start doing other stuff as well. So it's gonna be something this off season for both these teams. They have a lot that they can do to really buff up their team's power level without changing any characters.
Definitely.
Do you guys have any final remarks, maybe on the whole series or anything here?
I'd say I would be shocked if these two teams do not make top 8 next season.
I do agree with that.
I'd be very, very surprised. Even with all the FA change that could happen, you know, different teams picking up different characters next season, I still think these two teams making top 8. So.
Yeah, as well as I mean, ED didn't have a lot in terms of being able to get a good what's it called? Free agent. So
Yep.
they kind of already know the struggles, but Derp is going to have a season here where they're not going to have like maxed out Zenny. So they're going to have to make do with what they got and go with a more middle ground. So it'll be interesting to see, this show that they can have confidence in their team. Will they continue with that? Will they try to go for a free agent to pick something up? They have a lot to work on.
I don't know historically if Dup has made it back-to-back top 8 finishes, though. I know they made the bowl at one time, but I don't know if they made top 8 the next year. So I'll be very curious to see what happens.
Yep, that'll be indeed the interesting part here is can they make it back again?
Yep, consistency, right? That's what they've been trying to find. So, may have found it. Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, should we get moving on to our next event here?
Yeah.
Let's do it. The main event, if you will.
Yeah, so we have the first 2 rounds of the finals. The rest will be played in the Tenkaichi Bowl at the end of the bowl. So starting us off is Bujins and Royals round 1, where we saw a very, interesting match. It started off extremely even, pretty much what you'd expect. But about midway through, Royals characters, specifically Baby, Majin Vegeta, decided that they didn't want to deal anymore with the Bujins. So they kind of just wiped the floor. Evil Boo not able to do much. Majin Buu also not doing much. Ended the match pretty in favor with about a 6-par lead. But it's 1 round of a best of 5. So it was a very shocking first round, though. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, it felt very much like a gut punch if you're Bujins. Feeling very high off that ED win, right? And he's like, boom, just smacked up by Majin Vegeta and Baby, and Metacooler stayed out for a while as well, past beating Spopovich. So I was like, oh wow, how do we handle this? If it goes to 0-2, you think about what do we adapt? What do we change? Anything, right? And obviously we'll see what happens in the next round, but it was definitely a shocking, eye-opening performance from Royals.
Yeah, just especially with it just only with ending with a character not even coming in. It's just how will the rest of the finals go? We know what, even though we do know how round 2 did end. No spoilers for that, but it's like just how will the rest of the finals even be if they can beat your team with a character or possibly even 2, because we have seen that for not even coming out.
Yep.
Yeah, so just move on to round 2 then.
Yeah.
So we can.
So round 2 was basically the exact opposite. Whereas in round 1, basically the Royals won by 6 bars. It was about 6 bars win for Bujins in round 2, showing that both these teams are hyper volatile when it comes to their offense and could pop off at any moment. Which is funny because Majin Buu only did about 10k more, which you'd think, oh, that's not bad, but it went from 7k to 17, so not much. But in terms of an overall, Kid Buu and Gohan Buu stepped up just like Baby and Majin Vegeta did in the first round. So just goes to show matchups are going to be a huge part of this. And going in 1-1 means when we get to predictions, there's a lot more to work with because there's no 2-0. Okay, this guy has to make a big comeback. We're basically just doing a normal best of 3 for the finals. So, nice job on the comeback from Bujins, and obviously Royals showing a little bit of slips themselves, which is kind of just funny, especially after how round 1 went.
So that's all go here, and it was very interesting to see the duality of the matches, right? Because everyone on Bujins, I see from the stats here, did more than the previous performance, minus Evil Boo, he didn't step out. But that's really good, and the biggest component of doing that was Gohan Boo actually, showcasing his stuff, and Spopovich being able to knock out Metacooler, right? And then you have Kid Buu throwing out Plant Bus. That's the big kicker. Kid Buu was able to throw Plant Bus onto Baby Vegeta, right? And then one of those characters who was able to showcase his stuff into in the previous round, get him out of the way quickly and easily, well, not easily, but fairly easily, is a big boon for your team, right? You have to have that happen. And if Kid Buu can have that ult spam, things are looking up for the Bujins. If they can't, it's a little bit dicey, right? You have to make sure those Super Kamehamehas hit. You have to make sure those Pinball Pants hit. And he threw out, I think, 6 or 7 Super Kamehamehas. None of them hit. I think one of them hit, maybe. One. So we need to be able to hit them, right? So it's very, as Joy said, it's very volatile on how much damage output. That's 90k with missing like 75% of the B2s. That's 90k with all that. So the possibility of doing 150k, 140k is definitely there for Kid Buu, if he wants to hit his B2s or ults, right?
Yeah. So I guess I'll go now, but just how seeing Kid Buu basically just throw out like 2, I think 3 planet bursts,
Yeah,
a whole
2 or
bunch,
3.
and a whole bunch of B2s, and still missing a whole bunch of B2s and doing 90,000. Just it's really just shocking to see how much of a, I wouldn't say variety, but just how much potential that the Boos have. Like even Spovovich, like you've got him to do 40k, which normally he doesn't ever do. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of the big players here, since Evil Boo didn't come out, are especially Kid Buu and Buhan. Buhan, I wanted to say, seeing that man just tear through Slug, Majin Vegeta, is just, it's so sad to see those characters go down as quickly as they do, but it's just so great to see what Buhan can just work on, you know?
Well, there's a few funny Buhan moments here. In round 1, in 2 combos that took place in about 10 seconds, he almost full killed Videl. The commentators literally didn't even see what happened. And here in round 2, it looked like Royal still could have won it because it was like 3-bar Majin Vegeta, full health EL Slug in the back against full health Buhan and full health EL Evil Boo. So it's like, alright, literally just Majin Vegeta hit 1 B2 and it's even, hit 2 and he's ahead. And Buhan managed to rush him down before he could make use of his blast stocks in that scary Super Plus 2 build. So this really was it ended up as a huge lead for us, but at the same time, with how it was set up, really could have gone either way, because Slug has been no slouch. He was top 10 this year, and he was in the All-Stars for a reason. And obviously Majin Vegeta's Majin freaking Vegeta. So going up against Gohan Buu, it's his first season back, and Evil Boo, who basically did nothing last round. It seemed like Royals had another setup going in to take a 2-0 lead. So this one was a little bit more surprising than round 1, because round 1 just had, once people died fast, you kind of knew where it was going. But this one stayed even a lot longer.
I don't know if that's beneficial or not for how you feel as a Boochin supporter, right? So you want to have that early lead, just get out, have it very nice and calm, right? But at the same time, your star players did what they had to do, so is how it come out, right?
We can touch a little more when we get to predictions, but in terms of this was just a good showing that even if the lineups go bad, the characters are strong enough to fight back and get a result. So this means no matter which team gets what lineup order, there's a chance it still can go either way because both teams are coming out punching with their best guns. So it's just one of those, like, it's, you know, I think both teams took from this, like, hey, there were some good matchups, some bad matchups, and in the end, it didn't even matter the matchups because it was 1-1. So it'll be interesting to see. We have the benefit because of when we're recording to see when the, you know, what the lineups are. But even then, that doesn't mean anything, as we see here with the first 2 rounds.
Things that messed up easily.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and there were some tag shenanigans where characters always try to tag and maybe don't, but they switch up the order. We've seen that a lot now that 4v4 testing's been pretty hard underway in the testing side on the Discord, so you just never know.
Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to the next segment then?
Let's
There's
do
more to talk about this match and predictions per se, because obviously there's a lot to go over here, because we are moving on to the Bowl first event, which is the MVP tournament. I don't 100% know if this is like if it's MVP Gauntlet then that. I think that's how it was last year. So I think that's
I
how
can tell you
it's.
actually. I can
Yeah.
tell you. I think we have it set up. I believe it is Gauntlet round 1, then full MVP, and then it's the other stuff for Gauntlet. So Gauntlet will be first, then MVP.
All right, then the final to the finals.
Yeah, we have round 3 of the bowl, round 1 Gauntlet, the full MVP tournament, round 2 and above for Gauntlet, then round 4 and above for the bowl.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so
Good enough.
this isn't. So starting us off though with the MVP, every team's best character, basically whoever had the highest average damage over the 15 weeks. I don't know if it counts playoffs, but I assume not. So 15 weeks, you could contest and say, hey, this character had a better season. That one just had like a good week or two that bumped their points up. And everybody got to submit a build, except for I think 2 teams didn't. So they're getting their LVP builds, ironically enough. So I know Kaiju is one. Bardock is on like an attack -4 build, so we'll see how he does. And yeah, so looking at them and having seen the builds, I couldn't really give you any great predictions. I know for a fact that Vegeta's on his normal build, a very, very scary build. Let's see, what other big ones or notable ones were there? I think 16, obviously, having shown in testing, has his AI back to working. I know both us and Cinema are just going out with pretty safe builds, though mine's a lot more experimental. It's Attack Kid Boo, where you guys are doing the air quote experimental EL fascia, which we know works, just hasn't been used a lot. It's like Spam King Cold, which is going to be interesting. We know he can do it. Full melee Salsa, we have never seen that, at least not with full attack +2. Basic attack +1 series, quick fast, turn of life, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Basic TN, which will still be scary, but will be interesting because this is, I guess as a reminder, this is on the map where you can be ringed out, so that's going to be a big thing.
The World Tournament map, I believe.
Yep.
What's called? Yeah.
So some of these characters that build like Eternal Life is part of why my thought is Eternal Life's cool and all, but usually people don't die, they get ringed out. So it'll be interesting to see if what works better than others. Like I said, Kaiju kind of on accident has their LVP. It even says it in their submission, which is funny. Muscle going with their new Super Plus Android 13. There's Namek did a kind of troll build, I guess. It got Key +2, Secret Measures, Savior, Light Body, Rising Fighting Spirit. It is Light Piccolo, so he could
Savior in a 1v1.
Yeah, and Secret Measures, which is
I love it.
gonna get max blast stocks, I guess. So who knows? I don't know what's the idea, but it's gonna be something. RW normal build. Majin Vegeta is on the opposite. It's still spam, but instead of Super +2, it's Key +2 with Dragon Power, Light Body Series, Rising Fighting. So that's a funky one, but it can certainly work. Because his beam especially knocks players over. So if he does it at the right spot, he's just gonna easily move on. So that might be the idea. New old spam Kid Trunks coming out, which will be awful, and good old max attack birder. So there's a lot going on here. 13 could easily cheese his way to the final by getting a grab, and there's one wall you can knock people into that just immediately rings them out. So, I don't know. Do you guys have any big predictions for this? I obviously think my character do well, but after having looked through them again, I think the Vegetas, especially End and Majin, look extremely good, but also guys like 16 and Kid Trunks have some good power up their sleeves that may just burst somebody out of nowhere.
I think Angela 16 will do fairly well, especially in these 1v1 fighting close range type of style. But I really think that Fasha could go for it, and I think Kid Trunks is my favorite into the tournament.
For me, I think, of course, all these characters have a chance of getting MVP, but I think if I had to choose, maybe at least 2 that will make it far. I'd love to vote for my team. The fact that we have EL does make not just not just EL but defense EL can make it easier to be knocked out. I'm going to have to say I think either late Piccolo or what is it? And Vegeta will be our MVP this year.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, this one's, it's competitive and the MVP is cool and all, but due to the map, it kind of is, it can lead for some very cheesy moments. So it's
Yes.
just, to me, it's a little more of just like a meme event. It's for the fun of the event. It'll be fun. Uh, there's mostly like serious builds here, so people are definitely wanting to win. So it'll be interesting. I don't think anything here will be, whoever wins it will be, because these are every team's best character. We'll get a nice little, badge of honor. So it'll be fun to see who ends up being the victor. I don't even remember who it was last year. I think we should have wrote that down.
It was I believe it was. I think it was Kid Trunks last year.
I want to say it was Kid Chance. That sounds right.
All right.
He
Well,
usually wins them.
See
I
if
think
he
for the
can
last
win.
2 years, it's been Kid Trunks versus one of the Vegetas.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, it'll be interesting to see. There's other fun events like this. Like we have the tag team tournament that happens and stuff like that during the setting up of the league. So, there's just a lot of fun things, and
Oh,
I think this is one
um,
that's also fun.
it was actually last season was, I think it was Red Rats with Kid Chance and then Cell.
Ah, yeah, that's right. I think Cell was just kind of bopping everybody.
Yep.
So,
And
yeah,
then Kid Chance says no. So sad times.
Kid Trunks
You know,
tends to get up
I
there.
was still right in saying Kid Trunks.
Yeah. Hats off to you, Destiny. That is for sure. Well, so I move on to the next event then.
Let's do it. This is a fun one. Always a fun one. This one.
So the Kai Gauntlets are each Kai, north, east, west, and south, will basically vote on getting 4 characters, one from each team, and then 1 extra, and they will go up against 4 rounds. If they win, they have to win to progress. You don't just get to go to the next round. So they have to start in round 1, then 2, then 3 of increasingly stronger opponents until round 4. I think we didn't get to round 3 last year, but 2 of the Kais got to round 2. So round 1 is the Super Saiyans, which are characters that it was a team that used to be in the league and got banned for being too good. But they're technically stronger than the Super Saiyans ever were because many of the characters are in a form that's stronger than they used to be. So like Super Saiyan 2 and Goku and stuff like that. And adult Gohan being able to start Super Saiyan with Savior, which gives him father or bros Kamehameha and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess we can just kind of go through each Kai and maybe predict how far. So just name it off. So North Kai went with Ultimate Gohan for hybrids, 17 for androids, 18 for Budokai, Kid Buu for Bujins, and then as a 5th member, Teen Gohan, but shattered to be in Super Saiyan 2. So pretty strong comp. I guess we'll just go from Kai to Kai. So let's start with North Kai. We're looking at that. I think easy round 2. I think obviously very strong characters, and even with 18 being maybe a little bit of an outlier because she's been a little finicky, I think all of them are very strong and could always pop up to the occasion. So I think this team should I should say easily, but it's more so just like I've worked with half these guys in last year's, so I feel like it's going to be about the same of getting to round 2, but from then on it's going to be difficult.
I do want to before I say my thing, I do want to ask you, since you're part of the North Kai one, I'm pretty sure you're one of the ones that did most of the building for this. So, what are some of the ideas you went in North Kai into this thing?
Well, it was luckily enough, most of our best characters didn't fight for Pataras, so it was pretty simple. Shattering Teen did cause the most issues, because Savior, and a lot of the better characters wanted to use Savior. But overall, like, Ultimate Gohan's just, like, the best EL user out of all the teams, and is a great attack +1. 18 and 17 are both androids, but we know 17 can just work with Medical Machine.
Yep.
18, funny enough, works with a bunch of other Pataras, which makes her very nice. And Kid Buu basically just needs Ki +2, and giving him Master Roshi's for the extra health bar and scaling Pataras made him great. And obviously, Super Saiyan 2 Teen has father-son Kamehameha, and we saw last year he like entered, hit a father-son, then got hit back with the bros, then hit another father-son to kill adult Gohan. So yeah, it could be another one of those this year. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, I personally believe that North Kai. I think you guys can even make it to round 3, considering if Kid Buu and Ult can do excellent melee on their own. Kid Buu, of course, has high damage twos. Androids, of course, they can just keep on the pressure, just making sure they can't charge, making sure they can't like fuse or anything. And then Teen Han, oh my god, Teen Han can just pump out the damage with those ultimates. And I think that's the only reason you guys didn't even make it to round 3 is that your big heavy burst character was bursted by a fusion.
Yeah, funny enough, I think round 1's harder than round 2 purely because in round 2 there's an easy way to win it, and that is if your character can kill one of the calves before they fuse, then their builds become a lot worse, because I think they're more so designed for when they're fused together to give them like super optimal. So each individually, they're not necessarily weak, they still got a lot of banned Patars and are very good, but it's one of those like, hey, if you can kill, and we saw it last year as it happened, like if you can kill like Goku real quick, then you don't have to deal with whatever fusion they come out as. Like that's just it. It's too bad. Like they don't get a respawn. So it's actually a little simpler. And it's only 4 members per se, so health bar wise it's not too bad when compared to the dealing with 5 and much more tagging potential of round 1.
Yes.
Yeah, do you have something you want to add here, Donut, on this, or?
Yeah, I guess that's what I say. Probably, I believe we can make it to round 3. Round 3 seems pretty rough. Not gonna lie, it seems pretty rough. I mean, it's 3 members instead of 4 or 5, right? So it goes down in members, but that doesn't make me feel any more confident. So, I mean, yeah, I say probably round 3. I can see us getting to.
Also, our last guy is back.
Yeah, Oasis, what do you think
Oasis,
about...
welcome back.
We're kind of going Kai by Kai on how far we think they'll do in the Gauntlet. We're on North Kai right now, so the first one. How far do you think North Kai will make it Gauntlet-wise?
Let me take a look. Oh boy.
So, round 1
see,
Super Saiyans, then 2 fusions, and 3 OPs. We're all assuming they'll at least make round 2. Both of them are much more optimistic on making round 3.
I can definitely see why. As I was hearing you analyze these builds, this lineup at least, you have Super Saiyan 2 to go on, like you mentioned, Kid Buu, 18. Honestly, I can see them definitely making it past round 1, barring Ms. Vegeta or something unfortunate happening against adult Gohan. I can definitely see him making it to round 2. I can see him beating round 2, so long as the stars align in their favor. If that makes sense. Past that, I think they'll struggle, honestly. Well, I don't remember who exactly is in round 3. I know they are very, very aggressive, which is, sure, we have 2 androids in North Kai, but that kind of counter Team Gohan and Kid Buu. So I would definitely see them making it to round 3. They'll probably end up being stopped there, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I think most people just want to see a team get to round 3 so we get to actually see them, because it is the OPs. Omega Shenron, Blue 13, and Legendary Broly with like super tweaked out builds. So
Yeah.
I think it would just be interesting to see what they could do, because I don't think teams ever really make it to round 3, so it'll be fun for once.
I think they either fall to the Super Saiyans or either Gogeta or Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta wreck their team.
True.
Yeah, they can fuse into Gogeta. They could have double Gogeta. They could be
Yeah,
your fighters team, Destiny.
It's not blue hair.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Maybe you already explained this door, but maybe you can explain the medical machine again for me.
So it's Eternal Life and High Tension. So 4 cost and a 3 cost, but mixed together into be 7 cost as one single Patara. Funny enough, when we get to it, 2 of the Kais, East Kai and South Kai, both shattered a character, and for the Patara, they only have medical machine. So it'll be interesting to see how they do.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want to use that and talk about East Kai next?
I'm all ears. So.
Let's
So
do it.
unfortunately for East Kai, GT, ED, Namek, and Kaiju both are teams that, especially right now, the members have been very low activity. I think it's pretty fair to say. I know GT and ED especially, they kind of just hop on a few times a week. And it's not to say that they have, there's no, them having any qualms about the league or anything. It's just schedules and shit. I know Uwasive has been very busy as of late. So it's kind of, their builds came down to the wire, but I think in terms of a comp, when you look at what they have, it is an arguably extremely competent and very scary comp. Shattered Omega Shenron on Medical Machine, probably can do big things, has insane damage obviously. Late Piccolo basically took 2 people out every round last year and can maybe carry East Kai to round 2 on his own. Tien also just extremely strong character, always seems to do more than he asked. Bardock on his new spam build has just been terrifying in testing, and Mid Goku has shown to be one that if, as you said earlier, Oasis, if the stars fall correctly, can do an immense amount of damage. So yeah, I think like East Kai, despite maybe having some communication issues in their chat, which they were not the only Kai to have that happen, to be fair, but in terms of having a little bit of some issues, it came out with an incredibly strong lineup that could very easily hit. I mean, pretty much all 4 of these, I think, this year look like they should make it to round 2. Now, round 1 has some extremely high potential pop-off characters, and Vegeta incredibly strong. Adult Gohan on ult spam is incredibly terrifying, and Super Trunks, as we've seen just in testing this year when he's happened to transform into, is just almost unstoppable. So it's not to say the Super Saiyans are a pushover, but this is another one that I almost expect them to hit round 2 based off their own power level, and the fact they can come out and just somebody can one-shot somebody and that be that. So do you have any insight you want to give us, Oasis, on your Kai here coming into the Gauntlet?
First and foremost, I want to thank Napa enthusiasts for literally putting all this together. As you already said, pretty much our chat was dead for the most part, except for Napa trying to piece everything together, trying to get all these builds, get everyone's suggested member inside the Gauntlet. So kudos to him for actually getting East Kai settled and organized. I will say though, I'm very worried about our prospects. Our team is definitely feast or famine due to the fact we have 2 tanks and then 2 nukers. So if our tanks fall, then let me rephrase that. If our B2ers fall, we lose a significant portion of our damage. And with how the Super Saiyan look to tag and how they have a lot of mixed damage, I do see it possible for us to fall in the first round. Especially if Miku doesn't do what he needs to do and gets shut down very quickly. Because otherwise, we'll be falling into the all my friends are dead syndrome. And that's not the place anyone wants to be in. That said, who knows? Honestly, who knows?
I will say your team has 2 members, as we were talking about in the ED match, Tien and Mid Goku, who have been a little shaky coming out of that 3rd place match. So if they can be returned to their old form, you guys should be fine. But if they continue in being a little rough, then it could be a little rough for you guys. But Omega Shenron, haven't seen that. You guys have one of the OPs on your team and active. So who knows? Could be a very surprise showing. Yeah, Donut, Destiny, what are your guys' thoughts? How far do you think they'll go?
I'm probably gonna say round 2. I think is a comfortable spot for me, just because of the inconsistency with some of the characters, especially with B2ers, right? They can really just pop off, or they can just hit nothing, and it's like, well, good job, buddy, you did your best. And yeah, so that's what it is. But I think like Piccolo will be able to carry them for a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough if he can't kill one of the fusions.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this is really shaky to me because, like, my gut is saying mostly round 2, but a little part of me is saying that this might end in round 1 because of the finicky characters of Midku, Tien, and Bardock, and with the unknown of Omega starting in Omega form and not going from Sin to Omega. So, but I'm gonna just go with my gut here and say I think round 2 is the round that they'll end it on.
Yeah, I will say it's one of those. It's not even just like necessarily that we 100% think they can be around 1, but it's just more fun the more Kais that can beat it, because it's just, you know, everybody put in a good chunk of effort for this, so
Yeah.
it would just be fun to see them get as far as they can. Though every year the Kais always look pretty decent, and the Super Saiyans always take like 2. So I'm just hoping everybody can get past it this year, and I think it's more so analyzing what the team is than how far they can go, because everybody wants them to go further. It's just, will they?
Mm-hmm.
So shall we move on to West Kai, Destiny's one here?
Oh yeah, West Kai, also known as Team Vegeta and Kitchens.
And we'll get that in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, again, every Kai has someone shattered. You guys shattered Baby Vegeta to give us Ape Baby Vegeta,
Yeah.
which is an incredibly powerful, you know, just character. Ape having Power Body, has some of the better B2s on an Ape, just overall one of the best Apes in the game. Then the rest of your lineup, you know, having Gogeta, which is obviously, I know you've had frustration with this year, but it's also been incredibly strong. And you look at the other ones, Majin Vegeta, Kid Trunks, and N Vegeta have all been incredibly, like, powerful this year. Last year, Majin Vegeta was like the best. This year, N Vegeta is, but Majin Vegeta is still up there, and Kid Trunks never seems to fall out of that top 10. So, yeah, it's gonna be something else, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
Destiny,
give
give us the rundown.
Yeah, break it down for us.
I was about to talk until you both
Talk
interrupted
now.
me.
Keep interrupting him. He's not talking. Louder! I can't hear you!
Yeah, but no, yeah. As Donut has said, our theme really, we just wanted to go with all Vegetas, and since a lot of the builds for the Vegetas don't really conflict, as well as Gogeta and Kid Trunks don't really conflict a whole lot, especially since Gogeta runs Rush Blast 3 nowadays. Just, it was a really good team to go, and we did shatter, I think, the best giant in the game. And I think we can make it to round 3. If not, I think we'll end it on round 2, because out of everyone there, even though it pains me to say this, I think Gogeta could be the downfall. So I don't know. And a soft little joke made by one of the people, Snuffy, is we wouldn't have to worry about Gogeta if he had 9 bars.
True. That's true.
Yeah,
But,
I think it is a little bit of a worry. I think anybody could say if they've watched a season that Gogeta's been, he has immensely high highs, but he's also shown to have incredibly low lows, unfortunately. Though, everybody's hoping you could say the same about many of the characters that have Goku as part of them. So hoping that he will be on the higher of highs. Oasis, what are you thinking about this one? This is obviously an incredibly, you know, powerful Kai. Probably the most powerful in all, arguable, with the amount of Vegetas and stuff they have.
Yeah, let's say if this guy cannot make it past round 2, then no Kai can. This is quite literally the epitome of power itself in the league. Baby Vegeta, Majin Vegeta, and Vegeta. These are some of the most powerful characters, based on kit-wise, based on melee, based on everything they do. So, I have high hopes for this Kai in particular. I don't think Gogeta himself would do all that much. But we have Kid Trunks on his Eternal Life build, and then based on Vegeta, we've seen what he can do when he gets the lead. So those two honestly give me the most confidence, more so than any of the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I think this is the one people would expect to get to round 3 for sure. Who knows? This could be the only one to not get past round 1, which would be incredibly sad.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it's definitely the one that people I think would have the most hopes. Though South Kai certainly has probably the best Shattered character, I would say, of all the teams, though.
Probably.
Outside of that, they are going to have their own when we get to them. But yeah, I think this is probably the strongest overall Kai when you look at their comp and how many of the characters caught pretty much everything they wanted. So it's going to be kind of crazy. And I
Like,
think you say Gogeta is going to be a big spot. I honestly think one of the bigger, things to worry about is how will your boy, Ape Vegeta do? Because he's never been tested as starting as Ape.
True.
Well, I think that's not the only issue, right? Because round 1 and round 2 have a lot of B2s that like apes, right? These big, beam type or explosive wave type of B2 that happen. And even round 3, I think the apes will be helpful. Then in round 3, that's probably where the ape will come into play more so with a meta Shenron and all that. But probably from that, I think round 2 and round 1 do find into these giant characters. So I'm
I'd
curious
say
to see
round
how
3 all has natural power body breaking,
Uh,
so
true, yeah.
round 3 is the worst for baby, but round 1 and
I'm saying
2
probably B2 specifically, yeah.
pre-fusions, round 2 he'll go crazy. Post fusions he'll
Yeah.
struggle. So
Yeah.
round 1 is where we could potentially see a baby just go absolutely ham. Then round 2, if he's able to get in there at the right
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I will actually give a little insight of our roster order, at least for the first round. For round 1, we have the boy and Vegeta, mostly number 1 in the league, starting with Baby right behind him. So this could be a really good round to go on. But I will say, if mid Vegeta and Super Trunks tag in the middle of a combo again, I'm going to be sad. It happened to my Kai last year. I don't want it to happen this year.
Rough times. But yeah, I think this team, this Kai overall, should probably make it to round 3. And depending on which Gogeta shows up, could make it to round 4. If any Kai's gonna do it, it'll be this Kai, I think.
Also,
It remind me again. Could a character that's been shattered have Dendays?
huh?
Can Vegeta have Dendays healing? Yes or no?
I do not know, actually. I probably should know that.
Wait, what?
Um,
You keep
Can a
cutting.
character who is shattered, has shattered limit, can they have Dendays on them as well?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
The Shattered removes any and all restrictions. The only restriction he has is that any Patara he has cannot be in another character in the same Kai. So if they gave Baby Dendays, then there's only one Dendays for the whole Kai, and it will be on 8 Baby.
Technically, we did give him something like that. Baby Vegeta will be coming in with 5 bars. We gave him Master Roshi's.
That's true, but still, imagine this gigantic ape of a man with healing on top of, That's why I was very confused. I forgot the Shattered limit only limited you to one Patora.
Sadly, the rest of the team likes their healing, and Gogeta he normally doesn't even run healing unless testing. But we'll say one more thing. We might have a decent chance in round 3 because Majin Vegeta Majin Vegeta can break Power Body because he's mostly in max power. Gogeta has innate. Baby has innate. And Kid Trunks and Vegeta they launch B2s like it's no tomorrow. So, but with that, shall we get moving to South Kai?
Yeah. So the final Kai. And honestly, potentially another extremely strong one that we could see go very far. King Cold, Birder, Hercule, Bojack, and Shattered Android 13. And Shattered Android 13 is in the round 3 OPs, just like Omega Shenron, and is incredibly terrifying. And the only Patara he has on him is Medical Machine, which in the main
Oh, it
league,
needs-
he is banned from High Tension Internal Life. So he gets them both together while also being in his strongest form. It's basically like, if he doesn't pop off, it's going to be infuriating because like he has every tool he would ever want. His old build before ban used to just be High Tension Eternal Life, and then
Yeah,
he would always transform and kill everybody. So
This is basically old. This is basically pre-nerf 13 and his transform state.
yep.
Permanently transformed. So.
Yeah.
And obviously he's got some decent backup. Hercule, Present Bombs, those will run through all the rounds. Bojack has shown to be incredibly difficult to deal with, and he's another transform character that's a strong transformation. Birder had an excellent season, really popped off, and King Cold has also shown, he held the top spot for a few weeks there, and he stayed in the top 10 for the longest time. I think he still is at the end. So, just an overall nicely rounded squad, though when you look at the amount of just like super uber heavy hitters, you really only feel like 13 and Hercule are like the super bursty guys, where King Cold kind of gradually kills his opponents. Birder, similar style, and Bojack has been uber tank. So, yeah, I mean, they're probably the stalliest team, funny enough, which could come back to bite them, but they do have two of maybe the burstiest characters, especially Super 13 might just go, like we said, it might be a rampage. It could be great, because his B2s of SS Deadly Bomber and Super Explosive Wave will just shred these teams. So, yeah, I think this will be one of the most fun Kais to watch, just to see Blue 13.
That is incredibly true. I guess I'll just start it off here, but I do think this team can make it to round 3. Just I think with how a lot of their characters like to stall a lot, and considering what the fusion round is, I do think they will probably end it round 2 unless Hercule and 13 just go off. And I don't know about any of you guys, but if I ever saw this 13 in an alley, I'd run.
The opposite direction. Not messing with that.
Yep. But
No, I think that's about the same boat I'm in right now, because the issue, if we're doing more of a stall, like chip them down type style, right, instead of like these 20k ultimate type style, as we see like Teen Han and any of the Vegetas essentially, and that's not gonna do well against fusions, right? Because the whole thing is I get one down before I confuse, and if both of those fusions happen, well, things are gonna go south pretty fast, right? So I'll say probably round 2 would be what I'm predicting it to be. But I'm very curious to see how 13 does. I'm also very curious to see how Butter does, and then some of these really really top tier broken characters.
So I'm the only one who thinks that this is literally a 2v5 all the way through. It's just me, just Hercule, and actually, this is Bojack and 13 versus the world. Oh, okay. So
I think I do things.
Present Bomb is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, 10k present bomb. Come on.
That's true. But I feel like this team and what Kai faced the exact same struggles of, okay, all my friends are dead. What the hell am I going to do? Because as I think Destiny was saying, no, it might have been, never mind. Someone was saying that the whole name of the game is to kill everybody as fast as possible.
I mean, both me and Donut basically said that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would concur, which is why I think East Kai and South Kai fall into a very bad distinction of, wow, only 3 of my characters can kill people very quickly, meaning it's already a 3v5, to be perfectly frank. And then on top of that, Bird, while he is good, he can be very hit or miss, especially when the enemy decides to just B2 instead of engaging in melee. So that already kind of sidelines Burger. And he already does kind of little to no damage anyways, but I digress. King Cole is hit or miss. Unless King Cole knows your number, he's not going to do much outside tagging, leaving 13 Hercule, swap Hercule and Bojack, depending on what Bojack feels that day, and this doesn't look too good for South Guy. Like I low key think that they won't even make it past round 1, and I don't think they'll make it past round 2 if they do make it past round 1. So.
Yeah.
And these Kai, I won't even front. I won't say my Kai is getting better. It's literally almost a 1v5 on my front because Omega doesn't work. Well, he might work, who knows? And then take a Ren and pick up the 1 in these Kai,
Those
and there
three
you go.
need your stars to align.
Yep.
But honestly, that could be any of the Kais.
Oh yeah, definitely. Twice. Like 17 to stop working, 18 to stop working, right? Vegeta to have a bad day, so.
There are days
I mean,
where even
it's not
Trunks
bad.
and the Vegetas had a bad day, so.
Yeah.
It was like 1 week out of the whole season that they don't
Mhm.
work. Like, come on.
Well,
That could
baby-
be the week. That could be this week. Who knows?
And also,
Easily.
Baby Vegeta is unknown since he's starting in his strongest.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I think
true,
only
but that's at least
happened last year.
True, but that's still a 4v5 at least. Like,
Yeah.
And it's 3 Vegetas and their son. Like that. Like, if I could pick a team that have 4 people, that's the team.
That's a good
But
news.
sure,
Yeah.
you're
But
right.
yeah, I would say West Kai looks like best Kai in terms of this. I think North and East are very
Always.
strong, and South Kai I think has the strongest character of them all, so they could potentially go real far. And again, I don't think any team has like weak characters. It's just
Yeah.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be
all these
something.
characters are strong.
Mm-hmm.
And man, as DoorGuard and don't how am I forgetting your name? Oh yeah. Alright, whatever.
There are
As
3
doing
Ds
that,
in this call. Don't worry.
I you triple D. I can't say that word on cast, but whatever. As you 3 all know, this is going to be a 1v9 for South Kai. We'll see how it goes.
As good one though.
It is basically pre-nerf 13 strongest form versus round 1 to round 3, which also has himself in it. But I do wanted to add one thing. I think South Kai, if they make it to round 3, will struggle a lot because other than like the B2s from Hercule and Super 13 being 13, they don't really have really good ways of dealing with Power Body, which Broly just has by existing, and 13 Omega will have.
Yeah,
Oh,
of all the
yeah.
Kais, South Kai will also have the hardest time dealing with it. Though East Kai's in a similar boat. North Kai, we have Ultimate and Kid Buu, and Teen will be in max power mode a lot, so he gets it. But
And
West
then
Kai
West
has
Kai
a
has
lot of
Vegas,
power body breakers, but East and South have the least amount of power body breakers. So yeah, it's gonna be something.
But I
Oh, so
guess
screwed. Oh man.
got
Sorry.
anyone have
I guess-
anything else before, or should we move on to predictions for the
I think
finals?
we need to move on to predictions since we've hit an
Yeah.
hour. Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Alright.
So, it's only the one match, so we
Yep.
can spend a little bit of time here. But yeah, obviously we had a couple near elites in round 1 and 2 with Baby and Kid Buu. So both teams certainly had some insanely high pop-off damage. It's gonna be interesting, and yeah, I mean obviously as the Bujin's coach and getting my team here and having a lot of people randomly DM me after getting here. Congrats. I am putting faith in my own team, though I think, we have the benefit of the doubt to see builds and lineups. I think I may have gotten a little bit better in terms of the lineup setup, though it's going to be impossible to say till the matches happen. But in terms of just base looking, I think the start especially is going to be very good for me. I think Wuhan's going to have a lot nicer start. We have Spopovich Videl lined up potentially, which will be hilarious.
Yeah, that'll be
Either
fun.
one could win that. It just depends on who starts doing their thing first, because they both have loops. It's just who gets their loops going. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a great match. Probably going to go... I mean, it has to go 4 rounds anyways, so
Yeah.
5 rounds just feels like would make complete sense at this point with how wild the first 2 were. But obviously, I'm gonna vote for my team. I guess we'll just go in kind of Discord order. Oasis, what are your predictions here?
Great question. Well, first and foremost, the thing that needs to be said, the elephant in the room, Nerf Bujins. Anyways, I feel that Royals will take it. Oddly enough, as much as the Bujins have so much power on their side, aka Kamehamehas, the wild card that is Royals has really thrown me and many other people for a loop on how far they've gotten. You know, how Videl has been able to essentially gain the respect of everyone in the league with how she's performed, especially over her who she replaced, Deborah. I, in short, I'll keep it brief. I feel like the team composition of the Royals will somehow, I don't know how, will overwhelm the Bujins in some form of capacity, whether it's through tagging or it's through B2s or Clash. Honestly, it's probably going to be the Clash that will do Bujins in, but who knows? Who knows?
So, what are you finaling it as? Sorry.
Oh, you're good. If I'm being, let me be a little bit ambiguous. I think the Royals will win. Sorry, Dor. Second place looks good on you, though.
Yeah, it just means I would get first place next year. Go third to second to first, right?
Now what's
Hey,
Well, yeah, so
It is
got
true.
1-1 as is. Donut, what are your thoughts and opinions? Gently puts
okay.
force
So here.
multiplier towards head.
Ooh, okay. As I'm in
Oh, damn, he
the
got muted.
inverse.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. It's
Yeah.
just.
As I'm in the inverse of what Oasis has there in regards to clashes, because Bujin's actually won majority of clashes this past 2 rounds. They won 4 out of 6 of them. So that could be an avenue, but the only issue I see with that is if it's a Videl type of situation, not to be problematic, right? So here's how I predict it. If everything goes as ordered, right, in the what the lineup submissions were, Bujin should have a solid lead, slightly lose that lead in the second to third spot with Baby coming in against Majin Buu and Spopovich. And then it's just a toss-up, right? It's like just a toss-up between Kid Buu and Evil Buu and Majin Vegeta and Metacooler. And I want to say, I think I'm gonna lean towards Bujins on that, due to I think Evil Buu is better than Metacooler. And with that, I think it will be probably a 3-2 to the Bujins. I'm gonna say 3-2 Bujins, yeah.
So we got 2-1. So, Destiny, you gonna cause a tie or an overwhelming odds?
After remembering that the builds are up
Picks
and
up
looking
another force multiplier.
but yeah,
Polishes force multiplier.
just I really don't know because your team on the Boojins have had so many highs but also had so many lows.
Yeah.
Same with Royals, and especially in like the playoffs and like the major settings, Slug hasn't really been performing all too extremely well. I
Yeah.
think he will struggle a bit, especially considering how the previous round went with Buhan versus Slug. And I think if unless like Kid Buu, Swope, and Majin Buu kind of just flop that lead, I think y'all will take the round going into it. But how I personally believe this will go to 5 rounds, and I think the one who will take home the crown will be the Boojins.
Well, we got 3-1, but I will say from, being in the Discord and being active, it is a very split one. I think both teams have a lot of support. Both had a pretty strong season, and I could see why a lot of people have given support to Royals. They did have to take out RW after all to get here.
True.
And
Very
Derp,
impressive.
who got third
Yeah.
place. So
Yeah, very
some strong
impressive. Yeah.
competition, you could say.
The derp that got past Muscle.
Yeah,
Wow.
and ED.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's some.
So, yeah, it's been a pretty big journey for both sides. So I don't think you could argue one over the other without, you know, being a lot of good points. Basically, I think both sides have very great points for what they could or couldn't accomplish here. So it'll be real fun to see what happens. As Donut said earlier, it'll be split. We'll get to see like round 3 in between, I think, MVP and Gauntlet, and then we'll see the rest of whatever that is, round 4 and potentially 5 at the end of it all. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun stream. It's going to be a hella long stream.
Yep.
All the commentators will be there doing something or other. So feel free to come and check it out. Do you guys have any other things you want to talk about or whatnot before we get moving on to the closeout here?
I think it was said a lot, but we will not be having a cast next week unless we want to do it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any cast programs going on this off season outside of we may do one every once in a while just for the fun of it for with maybe some new people during TOP, but that's not aimed to be a regular thing as of right now. I think a lot of us like to have that little bit of a break in between the seasons to kind of refresh, come with some new ideas, rework how we want to do this. So it'll move around.
Because
One last thing before we close out, I'd like to make a special mention that Slug is the very first Namekian to reach the Tenkaichi Bowl. Way to go,
Nice.
Slug.
Hell
You
yeah.
did us proud.
round of applause.
Woo.
Round of applause.
I think a lot of teams have first. I think this might be because I don't know if Valkyrie's ever got to the finals, so this would be the first time Videl made it for her. I think
Baby.
Spopovich. This is the first time Spopovich. Yeah, Baby was always a free agent, so he's never made
Yeah.
it. So they have a lot more
wow.
first timers, where all we have is a good old Spopadope who's never really made
Yeah.
it through a full season. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun. Just a lot of fun records getting broken this year.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And then you have, we have veterans like the old man, Evil Boo.
The old man,
The old man, he's always there.
the crazy ones.
Oh, also one more question. So,
Yeah.
Door, I bet you're very happy that Maju left your team, considering how well you've done this season, right? How well Spopovich has done?
Yeah.
I think Maji would have made my team a little more well-rounded because Spopovich and some of the characters just kind of lock you into certain builds.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
we'll see. There's a lot of kind of touchy subject in terms of how all that went down. But yeah, I think in terms of the end results, obviously things turned out fine, which is funny. I think both us and Muscle got hit with a lot of changes this last season that were supposed to make us weaker, but they had a standout season compared to last year, and obviously we had a worse season, but a better end result in the playoffs. So you just never know sometimes. And I mean, Derp showed off that even though like Vegeta helped them a lot during the main year, in playoffs, especially the third place match, they won with their true hardcore team, and it worked out just fine. So any team can really do it.
Not even on everyone on their builds.
Yeah, on other stuff. So you just never know.
Shall we close out?
But yeah, stay till the end of the stream. There are several announcements, including a big one, which is if you've been watching and keeping up with the teasers, we'll finally get the answer to that. I'm pretty sure there'll be a TOP announcement. Signups will also be starting after the stream, so if you are interested in that, that'll be getting going pretty quick. And yeah, so check out if you want to know more on any of that. There's a link in the description, obviously, to the website with all the big information and to the Discord where you can jump in and talk and enjoy, and the TOP will be run, draft, and signups all through there, so you will need to join the Discord if you wish to join in. It's just a fun little small league that we do in the off season to keep stuff going and keep people active without just having a big old break with only testing. So yeah, with that, I've been your host, DoorGuard, with my entourage of co-hosts. Feel free to say goodbye in whatever order you guys like, or all at the same time.
Um,
I only have
bye.
I only have really 2 words to say after my bye. So bye everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hell yeah. Happy holidays to all those. Yeah, I've been done it. Been a pleasure.
See y'all later, and bye, humbug.
There's always one grouch, but we will catch you guys next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.